Hey guys, dephh here from Dignitas Valorant team, and today I'm here to show you guys some tips and tricks from what I've learned playing Valorant so far. Cypher A has huge hit impact on a map like Split because he's the AD faulter and he's causing pressure at this site, causing rotates, maybe even getting kills, being with teammates for example. So some of the stuff you can do is cameras, and cameras are always going to be beneficial at the start of round for info. So if you were to place your camera here for example, nothing really can push you or kill you at the start of the round. So you know that, and that can this cam is often shut down because it's a very regular cam, but it gives you that information straight away if the AWP is going for a peek or they're setting up some sort of set play to push. The cam can be used in a ton of different varieties. It can be placed in the weirdest spots. Sometimes you can do a safer cam like this, so they have to come out to shoot, and sometimes you might even want to sacrifice your cam to get shot at. So they shoot the cam, and at the start of the round, it can be something as simple as this. So you can cage at the start of the round like this, and then cage, and then you throw your cam. I pop my cam, I pop my cage, I see nothing heaven, and then I can even pop this cage when I'm coming up to come clear heaven as this is fading. And that's just one of many options that Cypher has at this site. So another cool little trick that I don't think a lot of people know about, maybe I'm misinformed and maybe people do it, but you can actually jump silently in this game, and it's actually really good for spotting stuff. So if you're a top mid for example and you want to watch the towers push, mid to towers push, and you want to do it silently, then if you just hold crouch and then jump and then release crouch as you're in the air, then that's going to give you this silent jump. So as opposed to this, where it's really loud, and you can see on the radar here that the circle reaches all the way to cat, so anyone on cat can hear you jump spotting. So it's just crouch, jump, and release the crouch mid-air. This is a tip and trick for especially if you're intermediate or advanced, or you're trying to really get up there in terms of team play. And if you're playing characters or agents, sorry, that have information, so that Sova or Cypher or Killjoy or any of them guys, you have to be wary of when you're using your utility. So certain teams, for example, they'll take things quicker, and then obviously you see in ranked games where people are just running about like no cares given. There'll be a Phoenix and a Jet flashing into you right here, and then you can't really practice this kind of stuff, but you'll find places where maybe you're in a scrim or maybe you actually play a tournament where this will apply. And teams that play slow, majority of the time that you can keep your stuff. So if I was playing B for example as Sova, which is a popular spot right now because of the wall bangs and stuff, I'd play with someone else. Maybe I'd tell them to AWP this angle at the start, but depending on their playstyle and their pace, like you have to use your utility well. It applies to most FPS games. So if they are not going to use anything to push us back off B main at the start, there's really no use of us using our abilities yet. So it's all about timing it. So if you can stick them at the right time, and then they have to shoot that, we know they're B main, and then in between that, maybe 15 seconds later, you ought to drone and clear it again, and then you know for a fact that your dot's coming back up again. So that's just one example of something that applies on every map. Like you have to realize the pacing of the team, and then you have to use your utility in a way that's smart. Okay, so I know you're sick of getting AWPed by Jet, so I want to talk about Valorant perspective as your POV and Peeker's advantage and all that thing, all them kind of things. So it does truly exist. Riot they've already made statements that they're trying their best to find a way where Peeker's advantage doesn't exist, but it definitely does, and you need to take this into account obviously as you're playing, because it's super important. And it's even how you approach angles is important. So an example would be if I was coming up A, most of the time in Valorant you want to be taking your angles deeper than you would. So if I was coming to short example, a lot of my pathing would be up the right wall here, and I avoid close angles like this just because of how Valorant POVs work. If I was to be here for example and you were to peek close, then I see you before you see me, and I have a great chance of killing you. And if you're on the back wall, it's vice versa. But you can see that the gap between this back wall and sight is much deeper than it is from this box to this back wall. So this is why short is hard to come up to sometimes, because you're always at a disadvantage to most of the angles that can be held. So if you were to be close, again, this guy sees you, but even though he has less time to react because you're closer, he still has a really good chance of killing you, as opposed to if you were to peek it from this angle, for example. So that applies to AWPers too. Most of the time, if you feel like there's an OP and you want to avoid it, you want to just go as deep as possible and as wide as possible. And that's how I kind of approach every time I'm especially peeking someone with an OP. So for Afterplants, I know I have to break this up really quickly, but how I see Afterplants on Valorant is for sure, unless you have certain characters or agents such as Brimstone with a Molly or his ult or Sova ult, then most of the time you want to play at least close to the bomb or in a position where you can capitalize off them making mistakes retaking. So if you're in U-Haul, you'll find certain timings to maybe push U-Haul and then actually take the fight to spawn, for example. I've never been a fan of, especially if you don't have the abilities to hold the retake, then you should be playing in spots where you're either with a teammate or you're going to use a teammate's ability or your own ability to get a kill. And that's just to break up their retake. You don't want their retake to come in and they smoke showers, they smoke short, and then they can aggressively get on the bomb and make you have to make the next move. You always want to be, Valorant's a kind of game, in my opinion, where it's momentum based and you have to just sometimes just go for it. Okay guys, thanks a lot for paying attention to the video today. Just 5 really easy tips and tricks that you guys can try in your own games and you rank moving forward. Make sure that you're subscribed to the Dignitas YouTube channel and hit that notification bell, because these guys are really going to push some really cool Valorant content coming through later on. So make sure that you're following Dignitas and hit up my socials if you've got any questions. Thanks a lot for tuning in today guys, appreciate it.